Alright, so in this video I messed up like a couple of times. I messed up 2 out of 3, but I wanted to show you the mess ups, so I kept the clips of those in.
Like what's coming to mind is like a golf swing or a golf stance.
This one I thought was going to be the winner. This was the first one, and I was actually really excited about how this one was turning out, you know. I was like a little bit worried about it at first, but it ended up being pretty okay, and you know, I was happy about the way it turned out. Let's see. I mean, you can even see after that first bowl, I think I did pretty good. It's kind of cool. I was just started like splicing up the throwing to cut out the middle part so it doesn't seem as long for you guys. Coffee in one of my cups. It's pretty nice. There's that song in this background. I think it's from a movie called Old Boy. It's really good. It's like a Korean movie. I got I got some of my tools. I went to Blix today and I got just some cheap like a wooden rib and a wire tool, because I didn't have a wire tool, so I couldn't even cut off pieces before. This is the spiral pole here. Like, that's a pretty nice pole, you know. Like, when I see that, I kind of get excited. You can see right kind of on that third like nodule down, that's where it sort of got messed up. It started ripping. You can see the rip. Yeah, and I tried to do something with the top to save it, but it just was collapsing instead of moving clay. It was a little bit too thick on that rim, so I just pulled it apart.
This pot doesn't turn out too good.
Yeah, it didn't turn out too good. The bottom kind of looks fire, though. Just kind of starting over. So then I was a little bit frustrated, so I was like, alright, time for this one. It's kind of loud.
Alright, great.
Oh well.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I feel like it's kind of like ASMR right now, looking at this. Yeah. That did pretty good. I think my face kind of looks like it's very Pottery Demon-like in this, in these clips. I think one of them looks really good in a second. We'll see.
Sometimes you just gotta try some things.
Yeah, look at that. Dude, I literally look like a demon. It's so funny. Yeah, the throwing on starting in this throwing on the second one was not as good as that first one. I mean, you saw the holes on that first one. It was just really good.
It's getting cut off. Let's try.
Yeah, but this is a good pull too. I'm gonna have to go back and watch my other videos and see how my pulls were different. I think I just need to start getting the clay management and like where I think I'm putting too much clay on the top, and then I'm pulling it out through the belly a little bit too much. And it's just because I don't like to trim, so I try to minimize my trimming, or I just don't even want to trim at all. So I try to throw that clay on the bottom, but I think I keep throwing that top part too much, and then I'm also just like stretching it out really thin by going out wide there. So I don't know. Right here it looks good. You can see I started losing it. I should have just done my like my spiral pole here, but I couldn't get to it at the right time, and I think I suffered here for it. You can see right there, that's when it just lost itself. Yeah. I tried to see if I could get something out of it, but as soon as that little notch on that top happened, I was like, not really for me. Just looked at the screen. You can see my
That's
thickness
the
is pretty
small-
good though.
like
You know,
those
like
small
that's
lines.
that size of pot. Even
Today,
at that bottom edge, it wasn't that thick. You know, it was okay.
another good throwing day.
Yeah. So this is when I started my real video, or this is the pot that I wanted to make, or not wanted to make, the one that got finished. So I did the whole clip of the different angles.
It's gotta be one of the most defeating things, I think. I don't know about other potters, but
It is.
you know, I've been doing this for like a little over 5 years now.
I'm gonna be such a funny old
And the
man,
fact
bro.
that I like mess up like drives me insane.
Kind of like that little transition there. It's kind of nice. The smacking, I just can't do it anymore, dude. I don't know why. It just, if they knew that I made pots, I feel like I wouldn't mind as much, but I feel like I'm hypersensitive making noise. A lot of noise. That was a good little first thing. And to be completely honest, I don't think this pot really turned out that great. Like this one I thought was just mediocre. The one that I did yesterday was way better. But I told myself I was gonna make a video. So the angles I think are a little bit better today. I was pretty excited about that.
This bat feels like sandpaper, you know?
Yeah, so the bat kind of has like it's like
up my hands.
it's kind of like the concrete texture, right? And so it really rips up your hands.
I'll deal with it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you know. I really like my expressions. You know, I cannot. When my hair gets really long, I'm gonna do 2 really long braids. It's gonna be kind of cool, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's so difficult to center with that mic there, but I think I found an okay way. And like I said, I don't think it needs to be really perfectly on center. You get it close enough and you're good. You know, I've been trying some new things out every time I've been making one of these videos. You guys have made it. If you can hear me right now, let me just make a comment on what I could do maybe.
Maybe, you know, I'll put the 2 mess ups at the beginning of the video.
That's what I did, Noah. Following through.
I feel like the parts that messed up at
Like a bug just flew in my
easily
eye.
avoidable if I just pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah. I'm kind of getting close to running out of clay that I can just work with whenever. So I might go to the clay store soon. Yeah. This bowl's looking pretty good. So what I'm trying to just get is it as even on that bottom as possible before I start throwing. Just clay wise, because if it's not even or if it's not on center, you can't really get it back. It all starts from that base. If you can get the base center, you can pull that centeredness up through the rest of the pot.
It's so soft.
That sponge just wasn't working for me.
So irritating.
I use a lot of water when I throw, but it's okay. It's like working out in like an alright fashion. Been getting a lot better at making those initial cylinders though. We'll slowly get to the right height. You know, I love to just get them all really tall. One day I'll be doing like, I don't really like making references to old pots, but like I'll do like some sort of moon jar, I think, when I get a little bit better at this sort of stuff. I think if I had a torch, I could make some cool videos. Like I think people like to see that sort of fancy looking stuff, and I could keep throwing and get some more difficult forms. You can see this one just doesn't feel like butter, you know? I mean, I hope if anything you guys can start to see the moments in throwing, at least through me as like the vehicle of the throwing process, like when stuff feels good or like when it looks good. Like this one, it just wasn't as butter. I mean, scroll back to that beginning, that first pot I did today. The throwing on that pot I think felt really good, and I even cut that top. I was like, when you angle your finger too far in, you can actually cut into the clay. So yeah, it was kind of a problem. And then right there, do you see it's getting too thin? And it's kind of getting a little wonky right on the neck of that pot. Dude, I think somebody's lighting fireworks, man. But you can fix this. Watch, I show you. When stuff like that happens, don't get too nervous, because, well, the pot's kind of screwed up because that just means you went too thin on that top, right? But you can do things to change it, right? You can like edit the pot, and so here you'll see me try to recenter the pot, and I get pretty dang close here. You know, I feel pretty good about how I did it, and then the way that I solved the problem of the pot I think was good, but I think the very ending when I messed with the bottom is when I kind of screwed it back up. But you can see that's not bad. We got it back pretty close. I'm even excited in the video about it.
Maybe this can just be like a flower pot. Make it really simple. Flower pot. Maybe do a little buckle on the edge thing.
Yeah, so when I say buckle on the edge, what I mean is I'm gonna like fan out. If this is the pot, I'm gonna fan that out so then it falls over itself, so it kind of looks like that second rim on terracotta pots, and then it also becomes kind of like a way to pick up your pots, like almost like a handle. It's just what I do whenever I go too thin on the top, you know. It comes from like it came from these forms I was making called like these medieval tower forms. A friend of mine wanted to make these medieval towers, so I sat down with her and we just made some forms, and it was like one of the things that sparked from that collaboration, and it ended up kind of being pretty cool. So it's kind of, you can see how it's really wonky, but you know, I got that clay at that edge, so here I'm gonna bend that edge over. I'm just putting my finger right there. You see that little edge being formed. I'm just pulling it out. And then there, right? It just, I think just like that, it's okay. It kind of looks cool. And then what I can do after I do that top first before I work on the bottom, like the spiral pole here. Alright, so here I am. We can just pull that right up through the pot and it's gonna be okay. This was the saving moment of this pot, I think. Like this, like that looks good. Yeah, that looks good.
Oh, flower pot.
It's just something small. Maybe you could put like a succulent in there or something. Like a cactus, I don't know. But you can sneak your hands up on there and you can pick it up from that top, which I do like. I think it's a good idea for a pot. Here, I'm gonna fix that bottom edge. So this is why I was trying to get something more like exciting on that edge. I should have just left it right like that.
Establish the bottom a little bit differently this time.
Yeah, that was my grave mistake. And that's my camera dying.
Oh, low battery. It's okay.
It's because the battery from those GoPros goes out fast. I did 3 pots, but each one's about 20-minute sessions, so you know it's not too bad. An hour of battery life.
With the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Done. Stop. Cut it off. Be done. No more Noah. Come on.
That's great.
And I wanted to emphasize that. I got greedy.
Go back a little bit this. A little bit water. And slice it kind of like.
This was just so I could get that wire tool up on there and it raises it up. But I think I screwed it up here. I just didn't like the way it looked. I really should have just kept it straight because I think the top and that middle part talk well enough. They don't need that bottom. But, you know, somebody once told me if you go stupid all the way. So I was just like, you know, like let's go really funky here and like pull that back down. And then I just, I don't know. Glaze could really save the pot though. You know, you never know with stuff like this. Glaze could be really crazy.
Cool. I'm really a fan of this pot, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's okay. You're not, every pot's not going to turn out the way you want, you know, but you just got to keep on making. You can't let yourself get discouraged. So, you know, I think that's like an important lesson with pottery, especially if you're trying to make production pottery, you know. Like you're really trying to make some good, like, one-off pieces and, you know, maybe, like, some series, but,
I just gotta leave it.
yeah, it's a
Alright.
good choice.
Well, today was a little bit of a rough day throwing, but we still got a pot
Yeah, we did.
that we're excited about, so at least excited to glaze, right? Well,
Right.
alright guys, thanks
Wait,
for
hold on,
watching.
let me see if I
All
can.
the best, and
And strong mentality.